One. Hey y'all.
Hello.
We are recording on a Saturday night.
It is a Saturday shift.
With drinks. None of us normally drink. So Lord knows what we're going to say.
Lightweights.
There's going to be some surprises this evening, whatever it is.
Already, huh?
Yes, I'm already feeling it from my sips.
Same. And I have ice in it, so that's how I'll stay hydrated.
Right. I have a glass of water that I may or may not sip.
I have ice cubes.
I did fill the ice all the way to the top of the glass, so.
I'm going to be like Pam on The Office and wait for a second drink.
Are you going to get banned from Chili's for life?
What a goal, to be honest. I do love an awesome blossom, though.
Just as long as you can still go to a Chili's in the airport, because that's important.
Cheese, baby back ribs, barbecue sauce.
Again, you about to keep getting us flat. It's gonna take forever. It's gonna be like loading, and I'm be like, what happened?
Well, little do they know, Chili's is one of our sponsors.
If only. I wish we could get some sponsors to just talk about GH all day. I would talk to y'all about GH every day because it's better than the show, which we'll talk about.
Oh yeah, that's what we're here for.
So how are y'all? How was y'all week? The kind of week that requires a drink, apparently.
It was all right. We might have a new sheriff.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Referring to our California elections, and Alameda County had a new contender for sheriff versus the old one. It'd be Latina woman.
They're all cops to me.
They are all cops, but
I hear you.
How else was my week? Pretty stressful, kind of short of staff, so I'm doing 2 jobs. That is it. Oh, I went on a bike ride again today, but I didn't post about it. But I wrote to Hayward to wish this little boy named Hank, who's a cancer patient, he got to be a firefighter for the day with the Hayward firefighters. So we all lined up the street and we waved at him and said, "Yay!"
That's sweet.
It was awesome. It was very sweet. And then I wrote home and took a nap and watched GH to catch up for this. And then I woke up and made a drink, and now I'm here.
That's a great succession of a day.
And gave y'all the whole scenario. Now you know my life.
I started watching, what was the name of the vampire show?
First Kill.
2 episodes left. So, and we're caught up on Obi-Wan.
Did that scene in the end make you cry or just feel a little verklempt?
It did.
Like my GRE word.
It was good. I had no expectations of the show, so like to come in and be so pleasantly surprised has been really, really good. It's very comforting, as Obi-Wan should be, you know. Obi's always been comforting.
Mm-hmm. Did anyone watch the hearings?
No. I saw 20 million people did, which is great. I retweeted some AOC stuff, and that's really it. That's all I could muster.
I'm saving all of my my bandwidth, my extra beyond work bandwidth for whenever the Rose SCOTUS decision comes down the line. So that's that's all my trauma capacity for the month.
Yeah. Let's talk about the show since we're talking drama.
Trauma.
Y'all ready for this recap?
Yes.
Here we go. Ned brought home a horse for Leo and the other rich people in their lives, Michael and Valentine, came by with hand-me-downs. Valentine tried to convince Ned to side with him in the ELQ fight against Michael and Drew so they both could retain more power. Michael would not offer Ned CEO, and Ned doesn't feel Michael deserves it. In other boring ELQ drama, Carly decides to become an investor against Michael and Drew's urging and advice. Also, Olivia not feeling Valentine and warns Ned to watch him. While Dante worries about Michael, what Michael has planned for Sonny, Brando, aka OG Dex, worries about what Dex is planning for Michael. Selena Wu warns Sonny of problems with the shipment, along with staff changing on the dock that Sonny knows is Michael's doing. Dex goes to see Michael at the Q horse stable when Dante and Brando roll up to stop the interaction. Michael pretends he can fend for himself and turns out to be kind of a dick to Dante, which I didn't like. Brando heads to Sonny and snitches on Dex, while Sonny warns against anyone going anywhere near one of his kids. Don't you forget, Sonny is a family man after all. Flash forward, we find out that Dex is in fact a plant paid for by Michael to take Sonny down. Now, I'm going to assume that Michael didn't tell Dex what happened to the last person who went undercover in Sonny's organization, aka when Sonny shot Dante in the chest. Family man. Brad and Liesl have an intervention of sorts with Britt. She has become a GIF, not GIF, no matter what the creator or GH says, GIF. Anyway, she has become a GIF thanks to Brad taking video of her falling into the pool and sending it to just one person, or so he claims. When Brad leaves, Liesl talks to Britt about her Huntingtons and tells her that she's letting life pass her by. By the Metro Court pool, Brad and BLQ thirst over Tex Dex, aka Cody, which makes absolutely no sense in a world where Lucas and Chase exist. Anyway, Cody tells Britt she should sue the Metro Court, so whatever. Gladys is being overbearing to Sasha, watching to make sure she doesn't relapse. Sasha gets shoes from back order that she bought for Liam and has a moment of grief. When she tried to take a Tylenol for her headache, Gladys thinks she's taking, pills. Brando is confused about Gladys' concern, but comforts Sasha nonetheless. We also find out the deception is about to be on some QVC style show, and Sasha will be there as a spokesmodel. So I'm sure that we can expect more devastation for Sasha. For whatever reason, Shady Brook looks like a prison. Finn shows up to visit Elizabeth with flowers, and she asks him to go because she had asked him not to come in the first place. Laura wonders if there's more going on with Elizabeth than sleeping pills. Finn, Gregory, Violet, and Liz's kids plan a camping trip. Cameron was going to stay back, but Laura convinces him to go and says that Finn is a good guy, which I have a lot of feelings about Laura having to be on Finn prop duty. I didn't like it. Esme makes everyone even more uncomfortable at Windermere. Nicholas asks her if she needs anything from the pharmacy, and she says she took care of it. So what we know is that there will be an ick baby. Ava calls Spencer out on his feelings for Trina, and he dodges. Because he has his trust fund, he doesn't need his job at Kelly, so he heads out to give Cam an update and tells Cam he quits. Cam, who just decided to go on a camping trip, tells Spencer that he has to cover his last shift. Nicholas oddly tells Ava he wants a divorce. And Esme tells Ryan, who's at General Hospital, that she did sleep with Nicholas. He asks for details in a very creepy way. And when she tells him that Neva is still together, he says that he is disappointed. Marshall finally tells Curtis that the reason he left is because he had schizophrenia. Very curious to know if, Tanya, you felt that was August Wilson Worth. Curtis tells Portia about what happened, and when they talk about it being hereditary, Portia is obviously worried. So we know what that means. Finally, at the gallery, Trina and Josh talk about the future. Trina finds out that the Title IX investigation found her at fault, so now she has to go to a hearing for her punishment. just dragging it out. Rory eavesdrops on some of the conversation between Trina and Joss. Trina calls him out, but he tells Trina he's on her side. Trina declares that that's nice and all, but she will be saving herself. It was a week. It was indeed a week.
Yeah.
What was your favorite moment?
Well, I can start. My favorite moment. I don't know why I'm already laughing. My favorite moment was Ryan's vampire fantasy. Where he fantasized about taking a bite out of Mac's neck and like being like, "Oh, Felicia, so wonderful to see you," and he had just blood all over his face, and the chomping sounding effects really took me out. I knew, obviously, like I knew it wasn't real. I mean, I kind of knew that there would be a daydream sequence just based on the preview alone, because I was like, they're not gonna already know that he's not locked in. But I just appreciated the callback to Port Charles and to the real vampire on the show, Dr. Hamilton McClay.
So I have a lot of Michael stuff this week, actually. My very few notes. So that's just a warning. Sorry, I'm sorry. Don't make that face at me. For our for our listeners, not people who view, Sandra, though your lipstick is very nice.
Thank you.
Made a face at me. But my favorite moment was actually the Michael Dex plot twist. Only because like so often we can see a lot of stuff coming. Like a trope is a trope is a trope, and we live inside of them. And when something can kind of surprise us within a trope, I think it's really good. So I didn't see it coming. I was like, okay. So while I think that the story is very dumb, I thought it was really interesting. I thought the plot twist was interesting, and I think Michael's aim at going against the coffee business is really interesting, because I was wondering what he was going to do. Michael is like Tom Hanks and You Got Mail. You know what I'm saying? Like he's trying to take down the small guy to bring in the big corporation. So he's like, we're not fucking with local Corinthos coffee. I'm about to bring in a franchise. And me and Dex are going to do it together. That's what I saw.
Very generous analysis. Very.
I was also high when I wrote that one note, so please, that was days ago. So anyway,
no need to qualify.
Well,
Dan did it.
You took it. I was definitely shocked by the twist. Did not see it coming and pleasantly surprised. It made me more interested in Dex than I would have been. He was interesting though when he was trying, like I felt like he was trying to get himself fired with Sunny. For some reason, Sunny forgave him. I was going to give him a second chance. But then he goes back to Michael, and now it's like plot twist. I thought that was really great. GH trying to, entice us with this boring story. It was great. I appreciated it a lot. I would say, since you guys put the really great, interesting parts that kind of jumped out at me, I would say my other favorite moment, and it was truly just a moment, actually, I know I liked the whole scene, but basically when Captain Sprina was like, you want me around Trina while she's with that guy? And I hadn't been on social media, so I'm pretty sure Sprina fans were like, that guy is the next meme. So, and that, you know, his face and all that. So, and that is when, you know, Ava was like, something's not quite right here. Something's a little fishy. And she's catching on to Spencer's little game, even though he didn't admit to it. She's catching a clue and she's going to find it out. I also like that she actually smelled Esme on Nicholas, even though he deflected. She's not. He's gonna have to do a lot to hide that relationship because Ava is smart. So I like that too. I'm gonna save my other shocker for our favorite performance of the week. You guys are going to be blown away.
Tell us, don't save it. Tell us right now.
Okay. Hold on to your seats.
Holding.
Now, it was not, really not that playwright quality that he said it was. But Mr. Gossett was really good in his scenes of talking about schizophrenia. The point where I was like, this must have been the scene he submitted for the Emmy.
But it would have had to been something last year.
Whatever. He cheated and they allowed it in because basically that was it. He emoted, he had feelings. Now, here's the problem with that being a good scene. GH has played him crazy, like flip-floppy. We don't know what the hell his problem is. He's violent one minute, he's nosy the next, he's, you know, super like Music Man and all of this. And maybe, I don't know, it was just like really weird and it pissed me off and I didn't like him. But then once I feel like, I really feel like they flipped the focus. It could not have been their focus to have him be schizophrenic the whole time. They didn't know what to do with him. I believe this.
That's true.
And so then when they actually started focusing on the idea of him having a mental health issue and it being schizophrenia, that's when he was like, okay, now I have something to bite my teeth into. Now I have something that I can act. And him, I felt it was really believable as someone of an older generation, not understanding what schizophrenia is, really scared for his family, really scared for his kids, wanting to leave, wanting to, you know, take on the onus of having a mental health issue on his own. And he really kind of acted that scene out. And so I have to give him some props today.
Okay. I will say that not about the acting, but what really bothered me about that was the writing of it. I mean, well, that's just like in general, but like this idea that like if you have been to every protest, the feds could possibly be watching you. So like that's not.
I mean, that's true.
I just didn't.
If you have been to every protest, then they would certainly be watching you.
Like I don't know. In a world where we have like we know that the feds do crazy shit, and actually every like decade, every year, something gets rolled out to say that like the CIA did some wild shit. So back in the day, people were like, "Oh, this like we think the CIA did this," and then they're like, "Oh no, it was much worse."
Yes.
So like to hear him talk about it or to have GH frame it like this man thought the feds were watching him and so therefore he was schizophrenic. I'm like, I mean, possibly he was, but also were the feds watching him?
I think it definitely could be both. And I think it actually here's the thing. I don't know what the actual diagnosis for him was. It could actually be that he may have had slight paranoia, but the feds making him believe he's schizophrenic. I think it could, this United States be that crazy, making Black people think something because they want to mess with us, giving us, syphilis and all that good stuff. It's very much believable in this world that could have happened. So I'm not sure where actually GH is going to take it, because I still think that there's something off about him, because again, they're just not really addressing that scene where he, beat up home dude, or why he really hates Sonny. We don't know that.
Right.
So I think there's something else going on with him. I'm just saying the scene that Mr. Gossett had, he acted.
I hear you.
He did act.
Now he's not the only person, because
I just wanted to hop on this discussion though before we move on. Okay. I don't think he has schizophrenia, because he said, like, they kept on being like, so you haven't had a recurrence, so you've never had anything happen again since then. I don't think that he has schizophrenia.
But do you think that GH has the range or the desire to like make some kind of like statement about the feds?
I think it'll be something more elaborate. I bet it'll be like some outside actor. It's like not actually the FBI, it's someone else evil that's like state adjacent, like the WSB or something. I think that's much more in their wheelhouse than doing a story about schizophrenia. Like, that would be the smart thing for them to do. They don't need it. And I think they also needed something that would motivate Portia,
right,
to look into
the genetic testing. So I just really was not getting the vibe that he's actually schizophrenic, and that he was either purposely just misdiagnosed because he was actually under surveillance, and or he was just misdiagnosed because the mental health system now has its own issues, but at the time, like, was not equipped. Because Portia also talked a lot about like, well, like, we didn't know a lot about schizophrenia then, and like the doctor who diagnosed him may not have like had all the correct information. Like, there was a lot, I think, in the dialogue that indicated that we shouldn't totally trust the diagnosis.
I'm inclined to believe you, because also I don't think GH will address the race and health medical care issue, particularly against Black people, especially back in those days. I don't think they would even go there.
Oh, they will either.
No, even though they just, they could just hop on over next door to Grey's Anatomy. Would be that easy, but whatever.
Anyway, who else do you have as performers of the week?
I want to give it up to Gladys actress Bonnie Burrows. Yeah. I know you said that in your recap that she was being annoying to Sasha and being overbearing and stuff, but I loved it, because it really, again, it just shows that side of Gladys that cares a lot about Sasha, cares a lot about Brando, and all the things that she went through that week, and she was comedic too. I mean, I really wanted one of those cookies. And
the
cookies looked so good.
When she turned around and just like because Sasha left the room and she was like, and make sure to give her one of those cookies. And then she just turns around and
I think the cookies are get a little nomination this week. But also, sticking around in the middle of the meeting, talking with BOQ, all of that. I think she did great in all of her scenes this week, so I want to give it up to her.
The actress really has found her footing, because I remember I did not like seeing her when she first came on.
Right.
Remember when she's like pretending to be Dev's grandmother and she was like being extra and even Dev was like, I gotta get out of here. Like get Trina and Kimber like, okay, we out. It was just really cringe. Um and I think she was supposed to play it that way. It's nothing about her acting. But I'm glad they gave her like the layers that is like because she also was like a relief, a comic relief in like all of the super heavy stuff they give Sasha.
Yep. Yeah. And I love her and Sophia together. And that was really necessary because, you know, there was not our regular usual Brando.
Yeah, I really found myself wishing that Johnny Wacker was back because, I mean, we usually have a lot of praise for those who are temporary, but this guy just didn't seem to fit. I felt like he wasn't like a cross between really caring and menacing that we needed to see that Brando has. He doesn't have that Brando quality, and it was definitely missing. And especially in the scenes as important as those were, to have him not be there was just kind of off.
Yeah, I was really disappointed. I was telling Tracy, I was like, this is kind of sad, but these are somehow some of Brasha's like lighter, happier scenes, even though he's like accusing her of using, like in the grand spectrum of all their scenes, this was like a nice scene. And so it was hard to not have Johnny playing Brando. And I just did not, this is no secret to anyone who's talked to me this week, I did not care for the temp Brando. I was very confused by this casting. I know that it's like hard to find people last minute, but this person seemed too old. And he did not look right with Sophia. And he looked like he was like not much younger than Mo.
And then the scene where he's like flips the switch. Okay, here's the problem that I had with the Sonny and the Dex thing. Brando was the one that introduced Sonny to Dex in the first place. Was like, hey, this is a good guy. He's temporarily working in the gym. I think, you know.
I thought that was
Chet.
Chet.
That was a different brawny
white guy.
White boy. Yes.
I'm so sorry, white people of America.
Not all white people of America.
I don't want you to.
I don't think all the white people of America watch this. It's okay.
I know that one dude is like, why don't you like white men? I'm sorry, you're right. I'm totally just not, because I did not catch that. Chad is a great guy, whoever played him, but
yes, Chris Van Etten, the actor, not the other head writer. Very confusing.
You know, part of what makes Brando work, and we've talked about this before, is that Johnny Wacker gives you like rock climbing bro who puts up inspirational like captions over the rock. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you actually need that to make a Brando work. And because like that is what we're used to, having that temp was just like even worse than some other temps.
But also he's menacing. He's scary. If he threatens you, if he threatens you, don't sleep.
As Miranda Bailey would say, he can bring the thunder.
He can bring the thunder.
Bring the thunder when he needs to.
That wasn't Miranda Bailey. That was Maggie.
Oh, you're right. I think it was on the same episode as a Bailey flashback.
And when Bailey had her heart attack, Maggie brought the thunder to the hospital.
Right.
Sorry, Grey's Anatomy break, y'all. We're back. Tanya, who else?
That's it.
Sorry. The horse?
Not the horse?
Not the horse?
No, I give it up to the living room more than the horse. The horse, that living room was awesome. I would live in there.
But here's the thing. With the horse, that's where the horse poops. Why would you have a living room where the horse poops? It's gonna just smell like horse all the time.
Right. So like get rid of the horse. The stable house is like, oh, that's a great looking apartment.
It's bigger
That
than
horse got
Maxie's.
that horse got a whole house. Maxie still
Right.
in what's her calling her single girl home apartment on Charles Street.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess the horse did okay.
Yep. All right. Well, let's transition into what's working on the show.
Okay. Gladys and Sasha are working. Spencer and Ava are working. Brad working for Aunt Selena and wanting to do more. And yeah, that twist. That's it. Those are working for me.
Let's see. This was hard. So there are a lot of things in basically only the sex tape storyline that are working for me. While at the same time, there are a lot of things on that storyline that of course are certainly never working, but it's like the only storyline that I find myself caring about. So like when it was time for the kids to come on Thursday, I was like, okay, I'm ready, because the whole rest of the week was really, really hard to get through. So I really love this like potential Spencer and Ava team up that they're kind of teasing, and they're like trying to get us hooked and invested in, and like y'all don't need to tease or try to get us invested. We're invested.
You ready?
Can we get to the part where they have to team up? And if we don't get to that part, I'm gonna be very upset. I love Joss and Trina. So like anytime they're in a scene together, I'm super excited about. There were things about the scenes that like didn't make sense, but I was just so happy to see Joss and Trina that I was like, sure, why not? And again, I love the teasing of Joss and Trina team up to like take down Esme. I liked kind of the characterization that they were playing with, where like Joss was like, let's just go get her. And Trina was like, that don't make any sense. And that's like very much kind of their dynamic, is like the strategic one, and Joss kind of pops off. And while I don't like, I found myself kind of like, Joss, what are we doing here? Like that's so unstrategic. I was also like, that's also just very Jocelyn, so it felt right on. And it also kind of reinforced some things that Spencer said in the past about why he doesn't want to, tell his plan to Joss and Trina, because Joss is gonna, whatever. Tracy's rolling her eyes for everyone who's not watching on video, but I do think that he has some points there, because there is past characterization that points to that as well. Now, not telling Trina, that's a whole other debate. I like the Cam, Spencer, and Laura scenes. Like I love seeing them together as a family, and I hope that there's more of a part that Laura plays as this unfolds. I feel like that they keep coming up in that configuration for a reason. And so beyond the fact that, family relationships, yay, we see they're not always emphasized on GH as much as we would like. So I really want to shout them out. And I want to also shout out Avery Pohl, who really works as Esme, even if I hate the character of Esme herself, and I'm like, I don't like what they're doing with her storyline, and like the way, like the grooming aspects of both like her relationship with Ryan and her relationship with Nicholas. Like I don't actually think the show has the range to do that do that justice in the writing, but I think Avery as an actor absolutely does. And just like handling herself with so much like artistic integrity and maturity and professionalism. I think that there are actors who are much older than her that could actually learn a lot about professionalism.
I'm
And
glad you brought it up.
being focused and being like hitting the mark every time. So I want to shout out Avery, even as I'm booing the hell out of Esme. So that's what I wanted to focus on for what's working.
I don't have anything that's working. I'm gonna just be honest with y'all. I have 0 things. I was trying to figure it out, and I was like, "Why am I stressing myself out and working harder than the writers? Nothing's working. It's bad." So I want to talk about what's not working. I would like to do that.
Yeah.
So, and it's men as always.
Men
They're just not working. But the other part, I mean, a lot of things. I think I am glad you brought up Avery, because something that really bothered me, and I talked about this a little bit on Twitter, is the way that Marcus Coloma is going about the ick storyline. And like for us, I know that we don't really talk about actors. We talk about Marcus because he deserves it, but like we don't really go too far into actors. But this offline, online behavior is actually like very cringe to me, because like, it's just so.
Can you share a little bit about what he's been doing?
Sure. So he has been like going online. I think some of it happened a little bit after we recorded, or like during the time we were recording last week, where he is just like, "What do y'all think about that it kiss?" Or like just like hyping up or overhyping or acting like this shit is funny. And he like I think he went on a Instagram live with Maurice Bernard and was kind of like, they were like joking about the fact that fans don't like it, and like comparing like ick to like other storylines that people don't like. I'm gonna get to that, but it's not the same. There's a lot of reasons people don't like it, and there's a way that you grown man could like make your younger co-star comfortable. Because if you go on social media, Avery has not talked about this. She has like maybe retweeted like the stuff that is like previews, but she hasn't gone on and be like, "Oh, ha ha ha, ick," or Ava's gonna take her down. Like that's not been any way that she's interacted with the content. The same thing with any of the young adult actors. None of them have engaged with the content in that way. And so to have this like adult man who had the scene with, I mean, I think Avery's like 21, but like with the teenage girl on the show, that character like hype it up as if it's with no understanding of the problems with it. It's just very, very cringe. I remember after Chaos's first time, and I believe this is the first, because like we've never really seen Esme and Spencer together. We've seen them like kiss or look like they're about to get into it, but the ick like sex scene was Avery's first on-screen sex scene that we've seen. And I remember after Chaos had theirs, they did an interview and they were talking, and William Lipton was just like, "Oh yeah, we worked with this intimacy coordinator, and it was really important to me that Eden felt comfortable and that." That's the way that you talk about this. So you grown man, if you're going to talk about it at all, it should have been with Avery's consent. I mean, I can't speak to what she said she's okay with or not, but also like she's 20 or 21. This is her first big acting job. So even if you did go to her and ask her if it was okay, would she have told you no? Like did she have the space to say no?
Right.
And like you didn't engage it with, yeah, this is really fucked up, or this is like a soap opera, and this is the way that I made sure that Avery felt comfortable. This is like the ways that we made sure things were okay for her, and I know that I'm old enough to be her dad. Like that is the way that you engage with that as a mature person, not, "Hey y'all, what do y'all think about this kissing scene?" or "What do y'all think about this or that?" As if this is like not a creepy storyline. You don't see John Lindstrom out here, like he's only praised Avery's professionalism. he's only praised her as a performer. He has not been, so what do you think about these creepy daddy vibes? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not okay. And I just felt like that needs to be said.
And when they talked about those vibes, they were like, oh, that was part of the direction, and like really talked about it in a professional manner. Not in a like a creepy lecherous way. Like he in fact, I really recall John Lindstrom basically being like, oh, she's like the future, you know, part of the future of the genre, and like really spoke about her both as a peer and like as a mentor, which is like an age appropriate, power appropriate relationship. And with the Marcus stuff, he actually is very aware of the critiques because he keeps asking people for feedback. And then when he receives it, which is by and large negative, not just like we didn't like the scene, but like your behavior is creeping people out, it actually makes it, he like acts out even more. It's like kind of like a child, like any attention is attention, and he's clearly attention starved.
Meanwhile, his character has been married to Maura West, fucking legend. He is playing Jeannie. I mean, I said this last week. If Jeannie Francis was my on-screen white mom, I would talk about that shit all the time. She'd be tired of me. And so the fact that that's not what you talk about, but the thing that you uplift the most, like your whole fucking feed is like state of mind and like ick. I'm just, it's gross. But what I was gonna also say is that something that's really sticking to me, and I'll shout them out as of next week. I'm gonna ask them first before I say their name. But there was like a question that was posed around like, why is it that like male bloggers and tweeters and podcasters are often seen as like authority figures on like soaps, when women say things, it's like a complaint. And that's like across the board. Even other women will be like, you're just complaining, you just don't ship this, you just don't understand. But when men say it, and it's like very plain, like, and it's a repeating and a watering down of what women have been saying in a more thorough way, they're like uplifted. And so someone's response was that no matter what, women are seen as fans of the genre, and men are seen as like experts on the genre. Like that was like a critique, or like something that they said they saw, like how people behave with it. And I thought that was really interesting, because I think that there are people who put it beyond men to like stan. You know, like, oh, the standing or like the ship wars or whatever is just like women doing it, or like women fans or non-men fans, and that men are like above it all. Like that, I feel like it's been some of the ways that people have gone about it when we know that's not true. And then often, you know, we have been like the harbingers to call out patterns early on, and then people act surprised when they come down the road. So that's why I'm so frustrated, I think, when it's like, what's working for the show? I'm like, I actually don't have anything, because we talked about this. We, as a set, like people who we interact with on social media, have like talked about like problems within storylines. And then people, I think, dismiss it because it's like not, you know, oh, you don't like this ship, or you don't like this character. And it's like, no, we actually have talked about these things over and over. And then when they show up in bigger ways, now everybody's like, oh, there's a big problem at GH. Well, I would say back in September, one of our questions was like, what's not working? And it's been cumulative the whole way through to be able to say, this is it. So when I say like Nixon Falls didn't work, let's look back and say, what did we say wasn't working? We said being separate from everybody else wasn't working. Okay. We said the like unbelievable nature of the story isn't working. So the fact that like Sonny mob boss would be up the fucking street and nobody would like recognize him doesn't make any sense. And so, yeah, that happened. And when people were like, oh, you're just being picky, now we have this story with like Trina and Esme, and we like, how is a psycho with a cell phone breaking and like taking down Spinelli, Sam, Brick, you know what I mean? Like all of these people can't find it. And that is like a direct line to like them not caring and not trying to make things work, just saying you're gonna take this. So there are like things like, there are like direct lines from things that we have complained about before, and then that are like showing up now, and everybody is like, oh, now people need to be fired. I feel like a lot of the stuff that we said it, and we've been saying, and it wasn't just complaints. So when we talk about Elizabeth's storyline and what's not working with it, and how it's really fucked up, and people are getting triggered behind it because it looks like an abuse dynamic, it's I think a lot of the actors too are like trying to convince us their point of view. So like Kelly Thiebaud like did an interview and she was like, well, Britt can't get over Jason because of Huntington's da. Sis, we watch the show. We get it. I watch it every day. I watch it usually twice before we record. You don't have to explain to me what's happening. As a matter of fact, you have a good sense of your character, but I have a good sense of how it fits inside the show. Like maybe even a better sense of some of the actors because I watch it all. If you got to explain it to me, it's not because I'm not smart. It's just not working. That's what I have. Y'all are just quiet. Sorry.
Because you had like a whole read and it was pretty intense. And I'm still drunk. So
like that.
And that's all valid.
Yeah, I mean, just like invalidating people's feelings and experience is not cool. So, just saying that, only men, or assuming that only men can be experts. No, because I mean, I'm trying to gather my thoughts, this alcohol. But in any case, I disagree that, only men can be experts on the show. I mean, women have been watching the show way longer than men have. Some men have felt shame about watching soap operas, and now it's becoming just more mainstream. And them kind of just taking over the genre is just really kind of insulting. Yeah.
I mean, that is the power of misogyny.
Mm-hmm.
Is that even in a genre that really was like explicitly actually designed to get women to buy things.
Right.
Like that was the explicit purpose of a soap opera. And of course it's evolved, right, to have other purposes as well. But like it's always been designed with women at the center. And yet misogyny is so deep that we still care the most about what men have to say about it. Because men occupy that expert role everywhere in society. Right. And even more so in places where men are seen as scarce or a novelty. I'll say this as someone who works in a field that's dominated by women and people who don't identify as men. Like I work in reproductive health and justice, and let me tell you, a man is such a novelty. People really are like, oh, a man, and I'm, without getting into the details, like it's caused issues, right? Where like men are put on this pedestal because there's like seem to be some kind of scarcity of them in women dominated spaces. And like, sure, be here, contribute, but like, why are you at the center all of a sudden? Oh, it's because we're just like replicating all the dynamics in the world in our escapism. Oh, that's depressing.
Yeah. And it's not just like, and I don't want it to be like, because I follow men, I talk to men, I have men friends. It's not just that. A couple. But it's also that like that like GH, like the executive producer is a man and the two head writers are men. That comes across in the stories. Because there are stories that I'm sure that aren't meant to like be or feel the way they are or they do, but they come across that way. So I'm sure that the Finn storyline is not supposed to be that he looks creepy and like he's like not listening to her and like is being disrespectful to her wishes. I'm sure that what they what they thought was that they were like telling the story and these were like the obstacles for this couple. But that's because they don't have like any nuance in their perspective. I'm sure that like even with like the Carly and Sonny divorce, it doesn't matter how you feel about Carly, Sonny was gaslighting her.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was like people who were like cool with it because it was happening to Carly, but then when it happens to someone else, and it's like it's whatever. Like, but if you argue people down that that's not what was happening, and then it starts happening with the character you like, then we have just like reinforced that it was okay to do it, or that it wasn't what people have been saying it was. And I don't think they listen to us enough to think that like you saying one thing on Twitter means that like this is like the point of like the genre and the way it goes. I'm just saying that it shows up like if you like a character, you're like okay with certain things happening or being said about them. But then when you see it happening to your fave, it becomes like a bigger issue. And I've noticed that a bunch. And I've done it, you know, I've done it as well, which is part of the reason I've noticed it.
Well, speaking of Finn.
Oh God. Did we talk about him? Oh yeah. I guess I did speak of him.
You did.
He's a vampire.
I forgot that Elizabeth had a scene in her own storyline this week because everything was about Finn. Even Elizabeth's scenes were also about Finn and his inability to respect her boundaries. And then having Laura prop him to both Elizabeth and to Cameron. That was that Laura and Cameron scene I was actually very much looking forward to. Because I love family scenes. I love Laura. And I'm like, Cameron really needs some support right now. You know, like Cameron is going through it. Now, if a year ago you tell me that like that one of the kids I was the most worried about, obviously besides Trina, is Cameron, I would be like
Sweet Simple?
Me and the Sweet Simple. Okay, Elizabeth's child? But no, I'm very concerned about him. He's been going through it because of Esme, because of Spencer's crazy ass plan, because his mom is stalking herself and dating a vampire. And so for like Laura in that scene, it's very hard when your mom's dating a vampire. So for Laura to like make the whole scene about Finn and his feelings, I'm like, what about your poor grandson? Like, why are you making him like he has been busting his ass? Like she made it seem like he wasn't being there for Aiden and Jake, but that's like all he talks about when he's not talking about Spencer's bullshit or the sex tape. He's talking about his brothers and like taking care of them. Like in that last scene with Spencer, he was like, I gotta go be with my family, get your shit together. So like, to me, the grandmother move would have been like, you know what? Why don't you let Finn help take these kids off your hands? Here's $20 or whatever. You can afford more than that. I'm old. $20 was a lot.
You know who can afford more than that?
But you know what I'm saying? Like, here's a hundy. Like, go take Joss to the movies or whatever you wholesome ass kids do. Like, it was so lacking. So not only was it taking away from characters who I'm really invested in, it was like propping up this character who I actually used to be invested in. And now, against my will, practically, I hate now. So obviously, boo Finn, boo Laura propping him, why is Gregory here? And yes, I know literally why he's here. He's on contract, and he's also here to prop Finn and to make us forget that Alexis was almost gay. Happy Pride Month.
Boo, boo.
Alexis was almost gay. Okay.
I also like, here's what I'll say about Hot Daddy and Curtis. It's not a good father-son combo. And I think that's what really doesn't work for me with them, is that I don't think they have great chemistry together. Like, just doesn't feel like much of a connection between them. And I actually see that connection between Marshall and a lot of other characters on the canvas.
Right.
Like, I see that with him and TJ, certainly. Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
Him and Stella.
Yeah.
And Trina.
And
But I don't see it between him and Curtis. And it's really like, I just felt really disconnected during those scenes. Like, I felt more connected to Stella than anyone in that scene. And I know that like Stella is obviously a fave of mine, so that makes sense. I would feel connected to her, but I almost felt like they were looking towards her more than they were interacting with each other. And that makes sense because, you know, if Bernie's your partner, you know, you might want to lean on her because she's a legend.
Right.
But it's not working in their dynamic. So that's really not working for me.
Since no one else talked about it, Cody and Britt aren't working.
Oh.
Get it out of here. Boo, tomato.
Ew. I mean, him, like, you need to go after the corporation and, you know, all this. That was like, what? I don't understand it. It just seemed weird. And I don't know, like, usually even when you have opposites attract type couples, you can kind of see the chemistry underneath the arguments. I'm not seeing that. And so, again, you know, what are you doing? And the fact that Roger Howarth is not working for me. I mean, that they had chemistry.
Yes.
They had obvious chemistry. And you're trying to put in this other, you know, home dude who's nothing, who's just annoying. And is annoying to Britt, it's annoying to the audience. Give us what we want. We want Britt and Austin, or just Britt and Roger. Roger Howarth could just be on the show. And
the part of Roger Howarth will now be played by Roger Howarth.
My fan.
The fact that you have this man on the back burner is the most insulting thing to me personally. I'm insulted.
Yes.
And I don't understand it. So it's not working. Stop the madness. Bring Roger back. Have him, like, him and Maxie are just nothing. Roger could just wake up tomorrow, get on the show. Austin can be like, hey, you know what, Maxie's not working. I'm gonna go after Britt. That would be so much drama. People would be tuned in. He just said, you know what? It's not working. I'm gonna go after Britt.
You can leave her a post-it like Sex in the City.
I'm sorry. I can't.
Going after Britt.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I can't. Don't hate me.
Don't hate me. Right. Yeah. You know what is working for me? The almost like universal Cody slander. At least on Twitter. I don't know what the other platforms, but it was I wasn't on Twitter much this week, but when I did dip in, I was like, I approve of this slander. Because this man has nothing to contribute.
Text. So I was reminded.
Can I talk about how often though the characters were trying to make us think he's sexy?
Yes.
I mean,
and I didn't appreciate using Brad for that.
Brad. It was Brad. It was
BOQ.
BLQ, Brit's mom, all of them. They're like, oh yeah, he is attractive. Oh yeah, no, he's not. If you have to keep telling us this,
Maybe he is attractive. Maybe he is. I would have no way of knowing. But like, that's just not my jam. You know, like he looks like the kind of person who I would cross the street when I saw, because I don't want to get hate crimed. So I am not into it personally. But maybe
he's a hate crime. I hate it.
I mean, just
so this is like our second Office reference. We've had GH reference or Grey's Anatomy references. Keep going. Let's do it more. Let's do more.
Ugh. Oh God.
I was gonna say, like, I think it's also just because we have enough men that like we didn't actually need him. And he's not like some kind of fantastic, like, can't pass him up kind of guy. I don't know what he does in his real life. I don't know what he does in his free time. I don't want to know. But I don't want him here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want him here. I was like looking at the fact I saw that Matt Hunter, who used to be who's Patrick Drake's brother.
Mm-hmm.
It was like his last episode was like in some amount of years ago. I was trying to say that if you don't like Spixie, go ahead and bring Matt Hunter back. Bring Matt Hunter back. Kick out Tex Dex, aka Cody. Put Britt with Austin, and let's have some hospital couples. Nobody needs this. There's a lot. I mean, there are people who could literally leave tomorrow and I wouldn't notice them. Even if I liked them, they could leave tomorrow and I'd be like, oh. If Cody disappeared tomorrow, I would pretend like I never knew him.
Honestly, if Drew disappeared tomorrow, and by Drew, I mean Drew Matheson, I wouldn't notice.
Don't do this.
Oh, or I would notice and I would be happy.
Don't do
that's
this.
not working for me.
Don't do this.
Uh-oh.
It's not working for me. Yeah. So what I'll say about Crew is that Laura and Cameron obviously have a lot of chemistry. They're good friends. They look like they're having a good time. They look like they're having a good time, which, you know what, is a step up from some of the other couples on the show. I'll give them that, because some of them do not look like they're having a good time. But I'm not having a good time because they're not in character. Like, they're Cameron and Laura. Right. They're not Carly and Drew. And to be fair, I don't think I want Carly and Drew to actually be together if they were like for real do Drew's characterization correctly. And what's happening here? Why was he like so weird and manic? What's going on with Cameron Matheson? Is he okay?
You know, as a cruise shipper, I didn't understand it and I didn't like it either. It was bad. It was bad. But I did laugh though, because people were losing their minds about Carly calling herself an honorary like quartermain or something. I'm like, y'all, like every time people go in on Carly, I'm like, it's fine. She deserves go in on Carly. But I cannot abide by people not also going in on Sunny. So like there are people like, she's on too much. Sunny and Carly, Mo and Laura have like the same amount of days. So if she's on too much, he's on too much. Like, sure, the quartermain thing was weird. It's like unnecessary retcon because like Drew and Carly actually did have a relationship and a friendship prior to Jason coming back. They can play on that actual drama and not make shit up. But also, Sunny just be walking into Monica's house like she didn't kill AJ and has Leo calling him uncle like he didn't kill his daddy. Sunny rolled through that like every time Carly is in a place, people are like, why is she here? Why is she here? I hear you, Carly is everywhere. So is Sunny. Sunny rolled up to like Leo's little like art thing to like have that interaction with Michael. We didn't see Avery.
Right.
Like it's just it. I actually would rather have Carly interjected in dumb storylines than have them build out new realities for her like they do for Sunny. People are like mad she's in the ELQ storyline. We didn't care about the ELQ storyline. I would be mad if they like inserted her in Elizabeth's storyline. I'd be mad if they inserted her into like something that like had potential, but like everything's been being written poorly, but like had potential. But having her interject in the ELQ, I'm not even sure about ELQ. Who cares? Go for it.
I would rather her be inserted there than a story I care about.
I mean, it makes sense because they're trying to put her and Drew together, and this is what Drew cares about, ELQ right now. So why wouldn't she be inserted in it? But the note that I wrote that, I mean, it makes sense, but it doesn't interest me. So I wrote, Carly buying stock in Aurora does not interest me. Crew interests me, and they should hurry up and date. Drew should find out that she's a lying liar and decide if he supports it or not. That's a good story.
And he should like that about her.
Yeah.
Right, but when he finds out that she lied about the paternity test, that's going to be huge.
She's so ridiculous.
Sorry, paternity, maternity, maternity.
DNA necklaces. You seem to be moving us into some free for all hot takes.
We are free for alling.
For alling. This is what happens after one drink. I am somebody's drunk auntie.
I finished mine. It was right here, and now it's down here.
I am somebody's drunk auntie over here, okay?
And look at the water, it's so full.
So we won't do this again, or maybe we will. Maybe until the writing gets better, we get drunk every podcast. Who knows?
Listen, that's our protest. Until this rating improves, we're gonna be lit as hell.
We're gonna drink.
And thankfully, lit as hell for us is one drink.
One drink. That's all I really need, though. But I have a full bar in my apartment because my friends love me.
Look you up. I got that. Free for all hot takes. What do y'all have?
I loved Epiphany and Portia's study sesh before it was interrupted by those men. But it was very cute. I loved how giggly Portia was. Like, she was just hanging with her friend, but also being very supportive, and like it just felt light and easy, and I just want to see more of them. I also loved just the little TJ and Terry interaction, and it made me go to Jerry.
To Jerry.
Jerry.
To Jerry.
No, second.
Jerry.
Jerry. All right.
No, I like Jerry.
I loved Selena and Brad. And I also loved how Selena was like, who are you? To Cody. Oh. And I just, those those 6 characters of color, I would like to see more of in different configurations, and not just like, I loved that one scene that we got squeezed in, what would it look like if, some of these actors were on contract and or seen more often and in like a full storyline that was robust and just like the other storylines try to be. And speaking of, I am Team Portia no matter what I don't care that she lied about Trina's paternity. And in fact, I think she made the right decisions, and everything she did for the right reasons. And anyone who disagrees is my enemy.
Right? F you, Nicholas, talking about problematic woman. Whatever he said about
awful.
He called her
Awful.
awful.
How are you just gonna call her awful? You barely know the woman.
And has she ever been wrong about you, Margulis Casaloma?
No.
No.
I have like a are we going round robin?
Please go ahead.
I had this whole thought about Monday, right? So
Uh-huh.
I'm taking notes by day. And I wrote, I don't remember what happened on Monday. So I tried to come up with what happened. Like Willow made a decision about not finding her mom. Finn overstepped and will continue to do so.
Yep.
And a horse has a living room.
Yes. That's all you needed to know about Monday. And in fact, it's more than you needed to know.
Your turn, Tracy.
I am interested. So the last time Sonny and Michael were at odds, I found it to be really interesting, and Michael was also at odds with Carly. And so I am interested to know if Michael and Carly will be at odds when he finds out all the bullshit Carly's been up to. I don't think he knows that she's buying into ELQ. I wonder how he'll feel about that. And I wonder how he'll feel about the Willow DNA stuff. Also, I find what they have Michael doing very stupid. And and I wonder, like, if he would have like found out what Sonny had done with Selena Wu and like a couple other things, and maybe it would like reach this level.
Yeah.
But like they don't even like reach back into past stuff and have Michael name, I forgave this man for killing my father, and here is how he behaves. Because I think that people do have like a valid point when they're like, Michael looks stupid if he forgave Sonny for like killing AJ, but he can't forgive him for like banging Nina on a dock ship, as Sarah would say. So like, why don't we like reference the things in the past that have happened? You know, make connections.
Make connections. He should find out about the Brad thing and the Selena Wu thing.
His energy will make so much more sense if he did. Now he just looks stupid.
He looks very stupid. I do have a Michael related hot take.
A Michael what?
A Michael related hot take.
Okay.
I ship Michael and Dex. Every time I see them on screen together, like that's my next point.
Mex.
Dykel.
Is it Dykel?
Mex. Dykel.
Mex? Or is it Dykey?
Well, you know Chykel is the ship of my heart, so I haven't jumped ship yet.
What's Trickle?
Chase and Michael.
Oh, chai, like chai. Like
Trickle.
That was Chykel, because there's no R in Chase and Michael, right?
Right, Chykel.
Chykel.
So yeah, Dex, Michael. I'm jumping ship because I want a free Chase from Chykel. I think Michael and Dex, it's kind of like that. Hey, we look exactly the same. Let's kiss. It's that genre. I promise you.
Just kiss and say goodbye.
What is going on? All right.
I have something.
Please.
I wrote, new Brando isn't as menacing as real Brando. He's too vanilla. Johnny Wachter has some caramel flavoring. What else did I write? I thought that I don't understand why Spinelli is hiding the fact that he's the society setups guy. Because I think people will find him more interesting if they found out.
They're like, is this why you're wearing Drew's suit jackets?
Yeah, Zelda Telesco. What kind of name is that? She does not look like a Zelda Telesco. Zelda Telesco will wear free-flowing skirts and different colors and flowers.
Right to the costuming department. We haven't dragged them in a while, so.
Oh, I have to give props to the costume department, and maybe it was actually Tabiana's actual dress, but she looked great.
She looked amazing.
That dress was off the chain.
It was so good.
I wanted it.
Yeah. If there's nothing that is working, we can count on our trainer to work.
Yes, no matter what.
Right.
Oh, Spencer needs to be poor longer. This better be a temporary reprieve because he has not been poor. He has obviously not been poor long enough. When he said, I guess I'll just have to try to make it by with 10K, and Cameron was like, a year?
A year?
And he was like,
no,
Cameron, a week. I screamed, and then I said, you're not ready to have money yet, honey. You're not.
The way you said it though was like, oh,
Cameron.
It's simple. Like that was.
I like how they infused Nicholas's interest in that, because Nicholas, the actor, likes cars, and the first thing that Spencer wanted to buy was a car. So that was. Wonder if that was an ad lib or something that.
I was like, where the hell are you going to Port Charles with a car?
Right.
And what kind of Italian sports car are you going to get for $10,000?
Right.
Maybe that was the down payment.
Because
he's gonna have to save for a couple. Well, do you put 10,000 down in order to lease it? I don't know.
I don't have no way of knowing. I also said Spencer needs to be giving Cameron money.
Yes.
I would like for Cameron to get 10K a month from Spencer, since Spencer is ruining his life.
Yes, right. He should pay Cameron for his silence.
Yeah.
This is where we're at. We are like, this is what the show has done to us. We're sitting here being like, Spencer Cassidy needs to be given Cameron Weber $10,000 a month because he's ruining his life.
You could have never made me believe this would have been what I said even 2 months ago. I don't know.
What have we wrought? Mm-hmm. And by we, I mean not us, because we don't make any of the decisions about this show, and that is clear.
No. Hey, did y'all think that Ned's idea was a good idea? I thought it was a perfect solution.
What's Ned's idea?
It's about ELQ. They were trying to come up with a solution to make Ned happy. And Michael was like, okay, we gave you this offer. You didn't like it. What other solution do you have? And Ned was like, okay, we can all be co-CEOs, all three of us. And Michael was like, I don't think Drew's going to like it. So that's why you're going to drive Ned over to Valentine, and he's going to be a Cassadine, and y'all are going to be all moated in there.
So I'm not, I don't know much about corporations, but I do know about organizational development.
Oh yeah, 3 CEOs would not work, but I think
that doesn't work.
I think as a compromise, he at least brought something. Y'all need to stop sleeping on Ned. He's been the CEO of ELQ more than anybody. Y'all treating him like a redheaded stepchild is not cute.
But Michael's actually the redheaded stepchild.
Right.
Here's the thing, though, is that this is not Ned's calling.
What's his calling?
Ned's calling is music. And I want him to return to that. Because you know what? I actually used to like Ned when he was his own person, when he was Ned Ashton / Eddie Main. And I think it's so weird that the show doesn't really, I mean, they let him play his guitar every once in a while, but like, I wish that he would have some kind of like midlife crisis moment where he'd be like, you know what? Fuck y'all. Fuck ELQ. Fuck being a gentrifier. I am dedicating myself to my music. And that's how I'm going to be a good example. And that's the legacy I'm going to set for my children.
Can we shout out to Rob for pointing out
Oh, yes.
that Ned needs to have a new nonprofit for people who low-income communities who have children with autism.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening, Rob.
Always.
I loved that idea. I was like, yes, right now, do it.
Yeah, right. Ned could do that, and he could be Eddie Main on the side.
I love it.
He can record a horse song like Bye Bye Little Sebastian.
Bye Bye Little what?
Sebastian. From
Parks and Rec.
A horse is a horse is a horse, of course.
Yeah, all of that.
Missed you.
Eddie Main and Chase.
The Eddie Main and Chase sideshow hour.
Yeah, sure. I was gonna say, why is Trina going through a redemption arc? She needs to be redeemed. I'm tired of it. Why can't my girl get any peace? I love conflict for her because that makes her very important. But God, can she get any peace? Just like, it's too much. It's okay. So she got drugged and humiliated. Then she got accused of the sex tape, publicly humiliated again, arrested, facing charges. Now she has to go through this Title 19 hearing or Title 9 hearing. Now she about to find out her daddy ain't her daddy. Like, it's too much. I've had enough.
And there's more to come.
There's more to come.
I don't know.
They got my girl going through Ava Jerome after drugging or after changing Morgan's pills level redemption arc. My girl ain't did nothing. I'm tired of it.
Same.
Speaking of Ava Jerome, her scenes with Esme are love them. Can't wait for her to find out.
Unfortunately, I think you're gonna have to wait. You have to wait. If this was days, they'd find out next week.
Right.
R.I.P. Chubby.
R.I.P.
Chubby. I will also say, I have this note, and I think I meant to put it somewhere else, but I will just go back to it. I am disgusted by how many times we have to see this ick flashback. Stop. I wish it would stop. And I also think that there's something about like just across the board how bad stories are, and how we don't have any levity, any happiness, anything. And so I was like saying something earlier about actors and like kind of defending their storylines. And I think that some of that happens because they don't actually see everything that's happening. So like Liz's story isn't happening in a vacuum, for example. Britt's story is not happening in a vacuum. Trina's story is not happening in a vacuum. Like across the board, like the show continues to like strip agency from like women characters and put them in positions that we're like, what the hell is this? So like, I would have never loved Alexis's and Greg's not cute, but having it like sit next to what's happening to Liz makes it even worse. I would have never, there are things that I might not like, but in the entirety of it, I'm like, you want Britt and Tex Dex to be together? This man ain't even a job. So you want the chief of staff at this hospital who's dying, supposedly, because I don't know if the Hutchinson things is real or not, who's like dying, who you've had pining over Jason for 6 months or whatever, however long, 8 months, I don't know how long, however amount of time it's been. You had her pining forever, and then you want her to get with some bum who fell out the sky?
Shirtless. Doesn't even have a shirt.
Then you got, Esme having no agency in what she's doing with Nicolette. Like, it's just the entirety of everything that's happening across the canvas that makes individual, it's always like the entirety makes the individual stories even worse.
Yep. Yeah, you pull a thread and everything connected to it is also shitty. Yeah. Well,
I don't have any more hot takes.
Yeah.
I just keep checking Twitter to see if Beyonce's album came out.
And?
No, not yet. Oh, I would have stopped you.
Oh, obviously. Shall we talk about the week ahead?
Yes, please do.
What day are we technically? I feel like we didn't end on a Friday episode. We ended like on a Wednesday episode.
I have no idea at this point because they've preempted so many times.
Right.
Well, where do we want to begin?
That's not a helpful question. I'm like, ooh. Why don't you save the best for last? Vanessa Williams.
Save the best for last.
Okay, I will save the best for last. So I'll start with the worst first. ELQ.
Yep.
On Monday, Michael learns about a surprising backer for Aurora. It's Carly. Valentine is determined to retain control of ELQ. And in the episode preview they showed at the end of Friday, Lucy said to Drew, clearly there's a pitch here. Let's have it. On Tuesday, Sunny and Carly talk about his rift with Michael.
Ugh, stop talking. It's like a Nina.
It's like, is that to me?
Oh no. When they say things have risen, Carson falling. What is it? The opposite of rising?
Toppling.
Carson toppling. Stop talking.
Not to be confused with Carson topping. Happy Pride. On Thursday, Nina questions Sunny's motivations while Carly tells Drew he's a welcomed sight. Great.
They're not kissing or anything?
Huh?
They're not kissing or anything, no?
No.
Kissing?
What?
What? Love in the afternoon?
Ew, kissing. Speaking of ew, in what was formerly Elizabeth's story, but now is Finn's story, Finn and Gregory take Aiden, Jake, Cameron, and Violet camping, even though we have not seen Liz with all three of her kids in over a year. So yes, they go camping together without Elizabeth in conjunction with the PC pioneers to escape their concerns about Liz. While nearby in Pawtuck, or maybe like right next to each other, I don't know if this is in Pawtuck, but anyway, they're gonna overlap. In Pawtuck, Austin is surprised by an unexpected arrival.
Maxie?
No. It's the kid Wyatt, who was like the little ranger that like saved Peter and then he like was the person who found Scotty when he was pushed out of the plane. He was on One Life to Live too. And so they're like doing a big thing to like have him have a scene with like Michael Easton and with Roger.
Wasn't he like Todd's kid or like
he
was something like that?
Todd, Victor Todd's.
Yeah. Victors. So he's the unexpected arrival. I think Maxie might be with them. Anyway,
Maxie said that she didn't want to go back to Paw Talk.
Well, on Wednesday, Maxie worries about a noise she hears. So either she's with Austin or she's not. I hope she's not, and maybe the noise she hears is Spinelli, and he can explain why his clothes are too big and ill-fitting.
Then get her pregnant again.
And get her pregnant again. Why not? Cameron, and also on Wednesday, Cameron makes notes of Finn's efforts. So that's cool, I guess.
How many stepdads are they gonna make Cameron deal with?
There is no limit. We have a little bit of random spoilers from various people who are not connected to a lot of the main storylines. So Sante, Sam and Dante question someone from his past on Tuesday. On Monday, Jordan gives Martin new information. Jordan also talks to Sunny, so get prepared for that inappropriate chemistry. And he says to her, "You've got something of mine, and I think he says him back. Maybe it's a Dex. Is that what happened? Did Dex get arrested?
A Dex.
I don't know. Who cares? On Wednesday, Curtis doesn't like it when TJ and Selena cross up to Savoy. And Brooklyn and Chase make a discovery about Link. Then on Thursday, Brooklyn explains to Chase her intentions with Link, but things go awry, don't they always? While Selena reacts when Brad tells her about an unexpected player in the game at the Savoy. Britt also gets some unwanted attention, as she is getting a lot of these days. And then let's see. Let's talk about
maybe Tex Dex will come save her from the unwanted attention, like Gregory Chase saved Alexis from her bad writing.
Perhaps.
Romance.
So for the sex tape storyline, on Monday, Spencer comes up with a new plan. We saw him in the episode previews talking to someone unknown at Kelly's. The key to Esme is her past. Avra ponders Nicholas's suggestion. I'm assuming the suggestion that they get a divorce. Esme has a tense confrontation. So Ryan's, obviously he's disappointed in Esme, and he talks about that in the preview, but Felicia also walks in the door and says, "Just who do you think you're fooling?" Really don't like these Felicia and Esme connections, but I'm just going to continue to ignore them until they confirm the thing I hate otherwise. On Tuesday, Joss and Trina ask Spinelli for help. And Wednesday, Joss and Trina wonder if they're in over their heads. And then on Friday, Esme seeks Kevin's insight while Spencer enlists Victor's help. Portia, Curtis, and Taggart express their concerns for Trina. Mac is upset with Felicia when he finds out what she did. I'm assuming that's about confronting Ryan and poor Esme. And as a follow-up, Martin and Laura discuss who targeted them. Might some Cyrus discussion be coming about? Laura's there is going to be the following week GH's 15,000th episode will be airing, and Jeff Kober was in the cast picture for that, so I think it's pretty safe to say we're going to be seeing Cyrus very soon.
Yes.
And finally, the most important spoilers of the week. On Thursday, Valentine and Anna go on their first official date, which also goes into Friday when Valentine makes an admission to Anna on their date.
Okay, so we get 2 days of them.
I must ask you, what is the admission?
I am ready. I'm ready for the Vanna date.
I'm ready for the Vanna date. I'm ready for more movement in the like Cassadine and like sex tape storylines. I'm ready for Joss and Trina and their hijinks. I'm ready for Spinelli to finally pull his weight.
There's no Victor?
Yes, Victor on Friday.
Okay.
It's Spencer enlists Victor's help on Friday.
Okay.
So I am looking forward to this coming week. It looks more balanced and less ELQ, less horses. I can't promise though. There may be horses. I can't promise anything.
Okay. That's all we got. They deflated us. They just deflated us. We used to be so excited for the previews, and I'm just like, well,
I'm excited. I'm excited for Vanna.
I am very excited for Vanna.
All right, let's wrap this up because this dead silence is depressing. It's like,
Right.
I really did save something really good for the end, and y'all are giving me nothing.
We're very excited for. We are. Spirit fingers for Vanna. Very excited for that. Absolutely.
No, alcohol is a depressant.
You're right.
Well, thank y'all for listening to our Saturday night recording of Sunday Shift. Yeah. Do you have anything special to close it out with?
If you are against Portia Robinson, then you are against me, and you are against all that is good in this world.
Okay. Well, that's certainly
If you are against alcohol, you are against all good things in the world.
lots of singing Tanya this episode.
That's
I love
going to
it.
be our new closing credits.
There you go. Hashtag when Sabrina gonna kiss. Shout out to Ashley.
Happy
Start closing.
Shout out to Ashley.
Bye, y'all.